The Amish have perfected farming without contemporary tools, chemicals, or machinery. They have created time-tested gardening techniques that will totally transform your yard. And once you discover these secrets, you'll wish you had known them earlier. Let's explore 50 straightforward yet genius gardening tips directly from Amish way of life. Natural, no-fuss gardening techniques abound among the Amish. Before planting, one of their easy moves is to place a fresh copper penny into the soil of your plant containers. As a natural protection against fungus, this small action works magic. The science is that copper gradually releases ions into the ground, therefore depriving the soil of nutrients needed for mold and mildew survival. Working non-stop to keep your plants healthy, it's like having a small guardian for their roots. This 1-cent remedy will save you money instead of lavishing a lot on fungicides. Still, make sure your penny is first clean. Though it looks great, the green patina will not help your plants. And maybe have a chat with your cat. Seems like they're into coin collecting now. If your pennies keep vanishing, try not to spill that water down the drain the next time you boil eggs. Use it, rather, to water your plants. The Amish hold that every resource should be used to its best. Hence, this is the ideal illustration. From the eggs, the water is high in calcium, which strengthens cell walls for plants. Consider it as your plant's equivalent of a protein shake without the fancy mixer. Particularly helpful for tomatoes and peppers, which commonly suffer with calcium shortage, are simply let the water cool before using it to avoid scorching your vegetation. Studies reveal that egg water moistened plants might develop up to 15% stronger. Who knew your morning tea would have purposes beyond only waking you? Don't throw those leaves, use them in your garden. After you have finished your tea, tannins and minerals included in tea leaves can help your plants tremendously. Just bury the entire tea bag close to the roots or distribute the cooled leaves among your plants. Like a slow-release vitamin tablet, they break down over time and release nutrients. Perfect for leafy plants, green tea leaves actually have up to 4 times more nitrogen than coffee grounds. Just take any staples out of the tea bags before putting them in the garden. Metal accessories are not preferred for your plants. Though most people toss their old coffee grounds, the Amish have a better idea. They help to improve the soil. Nitrogen found in coffee grounds is vital for plant development. Just toss them among your plants or stir them into your compost. But don't overindulge. Too much coffee may make your soil too acidic. One elderly farmer said his tomatoes were so energized. Although that is a stretch, coffee grinds surely contribute to producing rich, productive soil. Even the earthworms will appreciate you. They enjoy coffee grounds just as much as we do. Great biodegradable plant containers are eggshells. Carefully break your eggs such that the bigger part is whole. Rinse them, create a little drainage hole in the bottom, then load them with dirt. Plant your seeds. When they're ready, the entire shell may be placed in the garden. Your seedlings get extra help as the eggshell breaks down and releases calcium into the ground. Tell everyone you have eggs in your yard that you are growing an omelette tree. You may receive some perplexed glances, but it is well worth it. Communities like the Amish developed the skill of seed preservation long before garden stores arose. This easy yet effective habit will enable you to maintain your best plants year after year. The secret is to gather seeds from the most healthy, prolific plants you have. These are the overachievers in your garden, that which generates the crunchiest cucumbers and juiciest tomatoes. Once you have your seeds, completely dry them under cold, dark conditions. Here, the adversary is moisture. One drop will destroy your seedlings. Keep them in glass jars or paper envelopes to have a wealth of seeds for the garden next season. Create garden gold from your kitchen garbage. About 75% of their cooking waste ends up directly on their compost pile. The Amish have perfected the craft of composting. Rich in nutrients your garden will like are things like banana peels, coffee grounds, and apple cores. Simply place your kitchen waste, along with dry leaves, grass clippings, and some soil, into a compost pile. Microorganisms gradually break everything down into dark, crumbly compost, also called black gold. Though it takes several months, the outcome is well worth it. Just be careful to keep meat and dairy out of your pile, or your backyard will become the raccoon conference. Working with seasoned prepper Claude Davis, we have brought you his book on 126 superfoods and preservation techniques from hard times like the Great Depression and World War II. We consider this information to be precious and think it should be passed on to the next generation. See the book if you wish further knowledge about these amazing survival foods and techniques. It could transform the course of events for your family. 1. Scatter hair for control of pests. Gardeners in Amish land have been utilising human hair as a shockingly successful pest control tool. Studies reveal that deer and bunnies deliberately avoid places where they smell human scent. So before you dismiss this as an old wives' tale, think about. So pick some hair strands from your hairbrush, or ask your neighbourhood barber for some clippings and distribute them along the edge of your garden. A benefit for plant development is the nitrogen. The decomposing hair releases into the ground. Not only is one handful of hair excellent for insect control, but it also fertilises your plants as it can feed a square foot of soil for 6 months. And you will have the ideal answer when someone wonders what happened to their lost hair ties, part of my advanced yard security system. Though it sounds elegant, crop rotation is really just shifting your plants around to maintain the condition of the soil. For millennia, the Amish have been performing this easy yet effective method. Every plant absorbs various minerals from the soil. Some, like beans, even replenish the nitrogen content there. Common rotations go from heavy feeders like tomatoes to nitrogen-fixing beans, then light feeders like carrots. Studies reveal that crop rotation can increase yields by 20% and help to control pests by 30%. Maintaining a record of where goes may be challenging. Some gardeners create maps while others rely on memory. Still, it's an expanding experience in both directions. Have shattered terracotta pots. Never throw them out. Rather, designate your garden with them. This is the ideal illustration of the Amish utilising what you already have mentality. Stuck in the ground, first write the names of your plants on the shattered bits using a permanent marker. Unlike plastic markers, they won't fade or break in the sun. They integrate absolutely with the garden. One gardener even mentioned her terracotta markers held 5 years. Handle the shattered bits carefully. You wouldn't want to trip to the first aid station right in the thick of planting season. Though it sounds unusual, burying fish waste is a tried and true gardening technique with great success. Near your plants, dig a hole around 12 inches deep, dump some fish waste, and cover it with earth. The fish breaks down, releasing nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, all the minerals your plants need to flourish. Studies really find that soil treated with fish waste has 3 times more nitrogen than untreated soil. Just be sure you bury the leftovers sufficiently enough to draw some inquisitive local cats. Once his tomatoes got so large from this approach, my uncle joked he needed a weightlifter to pick them. Although it seems unappealing, making manure tea will make your plants very happy. Steeping well-composted manure in water produces a liquid fertilizer easy for plants to take from this nutrient-packed mix. To make it, load a fabric bag with manure, soak it in water, and let it steep for several days. Once ready, gradually dilute it until it resembles weak tea. Then, water your plants. Weeks of feeding your whole garden with a 5-gallon batch will depend on this. Just keep this unique brew far away from your usual tea collection. Combining them would result in a gardening tale you would never live down. Like an ideal gardening team, some plants simply get along better than others. Companion planting, where certain plants are matched to support one another, is based on this principle. For instance, tomatoes and basil go really well. The basil not only accentuates tomato taste, but also drives off parasites. Still, another excellent pairing are marigolds and veggies. The vegetables gain from the added protection. The flowers aid to repel pests. Studies find that companion planting gardens have 40% less insect issues than single crop gardens. Another nice pairing are carrots and onions. Onions fool carrot flies, while carrots help prevent onion pests. But pay attention, keep them apart as beans, and onions do not get along. The Amish have found that occasionally the nicest gardens develop inside rather than outside. One excellent approach to maximise space is to raise potatoes in barrels. Starting with some dirt, arrange seed potatoes in the bottom of a barrel. Add extra dirt as the plants develop. Every time you add dirt, the potato plant generates new tubers down its concealed stem. Whereas conventional planting produces just 20 pounds of potatoes, a single barrel can produce up to 100 pounds. One of my neighbours attempted this. His enormous potato crop led him to joke about creating a French fry stand. The nicest thing about it is when harvest time comes, merely tip over the barrel and get your bounty. It's like discovering edible gold. Small seed planting might be challenging, right? Even distribution of them is difficult without creating havoc. The Amish, however, have a creative answer. Toss the little seeds with cornmeal. The pale yellow cornmeal facilitates equal distribution of the seeds by helping you notice them. This approach also avoids clumping, thereby avoiding a lot of carrots growing too near one another. Furthermore, any seeds the birds might steal come with a complimentary breakfast, though most gardeners would rather save the seeds and cornmeal for their own use. Not only can collecting rainwater benefit your landscape, but it will also help your pocketbook. Each year, you may gather hundreds of gallons of free chemical-free water by arranging barrels beneath your downspouts. From only 1 inch of rainfall, a normal roof may gather around 600 gallons. Rainwater lacks fluoride or chlorine, hence it is much better for your plants than tap water. Natural acidity makes nutrients more accessible to plant roots, thereby promoting better health in the plants. One gardener laughed, saying her neighbours began calling her property the water park since her rain barrel collection was so vast. Unless you intend to create a bug paradise, just cover your barrels with screens to stave off mosquitoes. Like old friends, garden equipment will last a lifetime if used properly. Clean your tools with vinegar, drawing on the Amish playbook. This is a natural and efficient approach to clean your gardening tools of rust, grime, and build-up. It also is far less expensive and safer than commercially purchased cleansers. Just dab some vinegar on a towel, wash your equipment, and see how brilliantly fresh they look. Your equipment will appreciate the additional love, and you will be ready for your next gardening excursion. In the realm of Amish workmanship, tools are sometimes handed down through the years. Your garden equipment will stay in great shape with a basic vinegar bath. To get the acetic acid to remove rust and filth without destroying the metal, soak rusted tools in white vinegar for a few hours. Studies reveal that routinely cleaned instruments using vinegar have 3 times longer lifetime than neglected ones. Make sure they dry completely after cleaning. Damp instruments are only roughly as handy as a chocolate teapot. Resist the urge to prepare a salad dressing with that same vinegar while your tools are soaking. Certain things simply shouldn't mix. Marigolds are like small security guards for your yard. They are not only beautiful blooms. Marigolds have long been recognised among Amish gardeners to be pest-repelling agents. While their roots emit molecules that battle soil-dwelling pests like nematodes, their pungent aroma confounds insects. Studies reveal that marigold border gardens have up to 60% less aphid infestations. Marigolds surrounding your veggies will cause your garden to suddenly turn into a pest no-fly zone. Marigolds, as my grandmother used to say, are like guard dogs for your garden, minus regular walks and barking. Why would one want to raise veggies that nobody would eat? Based on the Amish pragmatism, concentrate on growing meals your family really likes. Studies reveal that home gardeners throw away up to 30% of their produce on vegetables nobody wants to eat. Maybe you might reconsider that patch if your family finds artichokes about as appealing as pine cones. Rather, raise crowd pleasers such herbs, lettuce, and tomatoes. A good garden is more about how much food ends up on your dinner plate than about variation. She simplified her garden with just the things her family preferred, as one gardener found her family ate 20 times more snap peas than Brussels sprouts. Recall that the greatest veggies are those that show up on your plate. Sometimes in gardening, packing closely is a benefit. Ask the Amish farmers. Starting your spring seedlings, spread seeds tightly over a limited space. Imagine it as a concert, packed yet with space to breathe. After your seedlings are around 2 inches tall, gently separate and transfer the strongest ones. This approach lets you choose the best plants and conserves space during the critical early growing season. Studies reveal that pooled warmth and moisture of densely placed seeds results in a 15% better germination rate. It's like organising a plant beauty pageant. The smaller ones could be shared with neighbours or tucked into container gardens. Only the strongest receive the main locations. Inspired by Amish gardeners who have perfected the art of seed beginning, consider sowing seeds pointing down. Your seeds will germinate quicker and more consistently if you use this basic approach. The pointed end naturally includes the root tip, hence the seed wastes energy trying to determine which way is up when it is already facing the appropriate direction. Studies reveal properly positioned seeds can germinate up to 2 days quicker than those haphazardly scattered. Though it takes a little extra time, your seeds will reward you by growing faster than you could say salad. Just keep in mind that this works better with seeds that obviously have a pointy end. Carrot seeds might cause you great trouble with this approach. One does not have to use costly pesticides to fight weeds. To keep unwelcome plants under control, the Amish have traditionally relied on basic, natural remedies such as bleach and vinegar. With its 5% acetic acid concentration, vinegar is a great friend against weeds, especially on bright days when its action is most noticeable. Studies reveal vinegar may eliminate up to 80% of weeds in 24 hours. Although bleach is the nuclear choice for more tenacious weeds, use it cautiously as it will affect your soil more adversely. Just use these ideas wisely. They are like that buddy that influences everything they come into contact with without knowing the notion of personal space. Also, keep them away from your prize plants unless you intend to create a post-apocalyptic garden. Prize-winning tomatoes could have your morning banana as the secret. Inspired by Amish methods of farming, feed your tomato plants banana peels. Rich in potassium, a vitamin tomatoes like. Banana peels are just break the peels into little bits and bury them 1 inch apart among your tomato plants. The potassium the peels release as they break down helps your plants produce more delicious fruit and stronger stems. Banana peels are nature's energy drink for plants, as laboratory studies reveal their up to 42% potassium content. Because her tomatoes grew so large, some even needed their own zip code, one gardener began referring to her garden as the Banana Republic. Just be cautious not to go overboard. Your neighbours might not value the fruit fly conference you are organising. Natural calcium supplements for your soil are broken eggshells, according to Amish gardening advice. Save the eggshells and break them to feed your plants. Throw away none. They break down and deposit calcium into the ground faster the finer the crush is. Studies of soil enhanced with crushed eggshells reveal up to 20% more accessible calcium than untreated soil. This additional calcium strengthens plant cell walls generally and improves tomato blossom end rot prevention. Furthermore, discouraging slugs and snails are the sharp edges of the shattered shells. One gardener laughed, saying her tomatoes never complained and her plants got more calcium than her daily cereal. Deadheading often is like giving your blooming plants a new haircut. It stimulates fresh development and helps them to stay sharp. Deadheading is one of the easy chores Amish gardeners concentrate on increasing yields from. Eliminating wasted flowers helps the plant to cease wasting energy on seed generation and divert that energy into increased bloom development. Studies reveal that dead-headed plants may bloom up to 50% more all through the season. Just above the closest healthy leaf or bloom, pinch or snip off fading blossoms. Like turning on the refresh button in the garden. One gardener even claimed her marigolds began to shed their old blossoms spontaneously as they became so enthralled with deadheading. That garden is one passionate one. Hear me out before you start to wrinkle your nose. Even Amish farmers find that pea is a quite powerful rabbit deterrent. Whether from people or dogs, predator urine creates an unseen barrier that causes rabbits to rethink before converting your garden into a salad buffet. Urine barrier-protected gardens had 70% less rabbit visits than unprotected ones according to research. Dilute urine with water, 1 part urine to 10 parts water, then sprinkle it along the edge of your garden. One gardener quipped that the bunny started sporting little gas masks since his garden was so well protected. Just keep in mind, your neighbours might not value seeing you implement this fix during their backyard barbecue. One of the Amish best-kept secrets is using straw to cover ground-hugging crops like strawberries, melons, and pumpkins. By building a protective layer between your fruits and the ground, you aid up to 60% prevent rot and lower insect issues. A multitasker in your garden, straw also helps preserve moisture and control weeds. Unless you are covertly intending to establish a grain field under your fruit trees, just make sure you use clean, seed-free straw. Mowing damp grass is untidy and ineffective. It's like bathing a dog in the middle of a downpour. Known for their timing-sensitive techniques, Amish farmers understand that greener lawns and better trims come from dry grass. An even cut is more easily obtained when grass is dry, as the blades stand straight like little soldiers. Studies reveal that compared to mowing while it's wet, cutting dry grass helps to stop the spread of lawn illnesses by up to 40%. Moreover, dried clippings distribute more fairly, giving your grass crisp appearance. One house owner remarked that cutting damp grass left his lawn looking as though it had been fashioned under an earthquake by a blindfolded barber. The nicest thing about it is you won't have to conduct an underdeck cleanup as frequently, and your mower won't become choked with damp clippings. Watering plants after sunset is smart gardening science, not only about escaping the heat. While evaporation may consume up to 60% of the water used during the day, night watering helps your plants acquire moisture without competing with it. Stronger root development is encouraged by the colder evening temperatures, allowing water to reach far into the soil. Just be careful to water the ground, not the leaves. Moist foliage overnight can cause fungal issues. Nobody wants their garden inadvertently becoming a mushroom farm. One gardener even said his plants were so used to his nighttime watering schedule, the local cats began timing their supper using his sprinkler schedule. The slow, consistent method of watering Amish farmers have long embraced, drip irrigation, works miracles. Using tiny tubes, drip systems provide water straight to plant roots from up to 50% less water than conventional sprinklers. Every plant receives just what it requires. No waste. Studies reveal that drip system irrigated plants develop up to 25% quicker than those watered by conventional techniques. Establishing a basic system is easy. If you can arrange Christmas lights, you can create drip irrigation. One gardener even said his plants were so appreciative they began to send thank you cards to the water meter. Amish gardeners are experts in seeing straightforward answers for difficult issues. One of their brilliant concepts is gradual watering with ice cubes. Set 2 or 3 ice cubes on the ground and allow them slowly melt to provide your plants a constant drink without stressing their roots. For sensitive plants like orchids and others that reject moist soil, this approach works magic. Studies find that ice cube irrigated plants had 30% less root rot than those watered conventionally. It's like arranging a small drinking fountain for your plants. Just consistent hydration. No mess, no stress. One plant lover even claimed her plants started performing the cha-cha when they heard the ice maker running. But it may have simply been her hyperactive imagination. More than just a nice style piece, wool socks are ideal for protecting plant pots during cold spells. You have a plant sweater by slipping a wool sock over the base of your pot. Wool-insulated pots can retain temperatures up to 15 degrees Fahrenheit warmer than uncovered ones. The natural fibres trap air pockets that insulate without holding more moisture. When one inventive gardener's Siphic plant survived a surprising freeze, she set a neighbourhood trend, and suddenly everyone's garden looked like laundry day gone bad. Unless you intend to create a new breed of foot-scented petunias, just make sure you use fresh socks. Wood ash is garden gold, not just dust. Apply the ashes from your fireplace to enhance your garden, utilising Amish techniques of prudent use of every resource. Essential minerals included in wood ash, 2% phosphorus and 5% potassium, assist to strengthen stems and encourage good blooms. About 1 cup every square yard, lightly scatter cooled ashes about your plants. Though using this approach around acid-loving plants like blueberries, the ash also helps neutralise acidic soils. Studies find that plants treated with wood ash bloom up to 20% more than those handled without. Remember, a small amount goes a long way. You are hoping for a light dusting rather than a volcano explosion. Think about this before throwing those onion peels in the garbage. Their nutrients will be much loved by your plants. A multivitamin for your garden, they provide up to 20% potassium, 15% calcium, and trace levels of magnesium. Either bury the skin straight in the ground around your plants or soak them in water for 3 days to make a nutrient-rich tea. Studies on plants fed with onion skin fertilizer find that they grow up to 25% quicker than untreated ones. One gardener said her roses bloomed so aggressively after drinking onion peel tea that the other flowers in the area appeared sluggish. Just be sure you bury the skins deep enough, unless you wish your garden to smell like a French restaurant on a busy night. Solving a typical container. Gardening issue, soil slippage through drainage holes, coffee filters are ideal. Before adding soil, just lay a coffee filter at the bottom of your pot to keep the dirt in while letting extra water drain out. Pots with coffee filter barriers retain up to 30% more soil when watering, according to studies. Furthermore, unlike rocks or broken crockery, coffee filters break down over time and enrich your soil with organic content. One container gardener laughed, saying her morning coffee filters were running non-stop, filtering dirt in the afternoon and coffee. Talk about a win all around. Inspired by Amish pragmatism, those spare chopsticks from takeout can find great use in the garden. Make paths for air, water, and nutrients to reach plant roots by softly punctuating compacted dirt with holes. Research indicates that aerated soil absorbs up to 40% more water, therefore enhancing the general condition of your plants. This little fix can help your garden flourish much more naturally. Regarding charcoal for your garden, be sure you are utilising horticulture charcoal, not scraps from your previous BBQ. Unless, however, you want your terrarium to smell like the picnic from last summer. Specifically made to assist with soil aeration, drainage, and odour control is horticultural charcoal, so use the correct materials to keep your yard smelling fresh and conserve the BBQ charcoal for the grill. Could garden gold be hidden in your pencil sharpener? Actually, those small wood curls make great mulch. Pencil shavings create quite good plant cover, much like the wood shavings Amish artisans use in their workshops. They are basically little cedar mulch with inherent insect-repelling qualities. Studies reveal that regions covered with pencil shavings hold up to 25% more moisture than unbroken ground. For indoor plants or container gardens, where they also help discourage unwelcome fungus gnats. They are especially wonderful. One teacher even began gathering shavings from the sharpener in her classroom and transformed the windowsill garden into the most carefully cared for plants in the school. Just use basic wooden pencils. Those neon-coloured ones might give your garden the appearance of a neon sign. Perfect for your plant pots are used kitchen sponges from years past. Reusing what you have is the essence of Amish resourcefulness. Sponges help to minimise waterlogging while maintaining ideal moisture levels for good roots. Studies reveal that pots with sponges at the bottom hold up to 40% more moisture during dry times than those with conventional gravel. Cut the sponges to suit the bottom of your pots. They will function as little water reservoirs. Plants irrigated from sponge-drained pots last up to 2 days without watering. One container gardener even quipped that her sponge-bottom pots grew so effectively that began providing water management advice to the plants of neighbours. Just be sure you're using plain sponges. Ones with soap residue might cause your next watering session to become an unplanned bubble party. Epsom salt is like a spa treatment for your plants. It is not only for relaxing baths. Epsom salt's magnesium and sulfur stimulate larger, more brilliant blooms and aid to produce chlorophyll. Apply twice a month throughout the growth season, 2 teaspoons of Epsom salt per gallon of water. Studies indicate that plants treated with this solution may bloom up to 35% more than untreated ones. Especially enjoy this magnesium boost are roses, peppers and tomatoes. One gardener stated that Epsom salt made her roses so vivid. Even the bees started writing 5-star ratings. Just be cautious not to confuse your bath materials with the Epsom salt in your garden, unless you want to soak in something that smells like potting soil. Building a little greenhouse for your plants is simpler than you would have guessed. Cover your pots with clear plastic bags to replicate the circumstances Amish farmers employ for cuttings and humidity-loving plants, therefore raising up to 70% of humidity. By helping to preserve constant temperature and moisture, the enclosed habitat increases growth rates by up to 25%. Just be sure the plastic stays off the leaves. Use stakes if needed to keep it up. One gardener named the Bag Ladies Club sworn her plants started conducting special meetings behind their plastic domes, nicknamed her Yard Plastic Bag Covered. To prevent your plants from turning into a sauna, keep a few holes open for ventilation. Would want to deliver ants packed without chemicals? One natural answer is white vinegar. Your garden becomes a maze without a way out as the acetic acid disturbs ant trails and messes their communication system. In a spray bottle, equal parts water and vinegar and mist trouble areas. Studies indicate this fix can cut ant activity by up to 70% in 24 hours. It basically leaves the chemical traces ants utilise for navigation more lost than a GPS in a tunnel. One gardener reported the ants packed up so quickly she saw them dragging small luggage as they left. Just keep from directly misting the vinegar on the leaves of your plants. They would rather have their salad dressing on the side. Aloe vera is a wonderful plant healer in addition to being for human cuts and burns. Aloe vera gel's inherent antibacterial qualities help to protect wounds and fractures in your plant stems from which infection risk is lowered up to 50%. Just gently dab fresh gel from an aloe leaf over the affected regions. It closes the incision and offers nutrients meant to hasten recovery. One plant lover promises her aloe-treated plants healed so well, she began providing therapeutic treatments for damaged plants to her neighbours. Remember, a little goes a long way. You are not moisturising a desert, you are healing a plant wound.